Yes, welcome back, Loony listeners. This is a bonus episode for you. It's dropping shortly after we actually dropped episode 148. So, don't want to take anything away from that awesome episode. I had Moonmin on, so go check it out. Episode 148. It's out now. But I thought I'd just drop a short bonus episode, kind of like a reaction episode to Avengers 33, because we weren't able to talk about it. It wasn't released at the time of recording when we did 148. So this is going to be a quick one. It's going to be very loose. You can probably hear some background noise. I'm doing this on the fly, and what I want to do, just give my initial impressions, but just go through some of the Loony feedback, what everyone's thinking about this issue, and we'll do an official review. We'll record it this coming weekend for release next Wednesday or Thursday for you. So, of course, if you have any more feedback, please send it in. I'm going to nab what's been dropped already. I've got a few audio feedback messages, which is great. So let's get cracking. First off, Avengers 33, my initial thoughts was... And actually, sorry, Loonies, this will be spoiler-filled, so please, if you haven't read issue 33, please do so, because I'll be talking freely about it, as will the feedback involved. So anyway, I thought it was a really cool issue. I loved it. It was very quick for me, because there was a lot of action, so it just felt like I burnt through the issue. It was great to see. It seemed a little too quick for pace, but I can see where Jason Aaron is going. He kind of wants to set it up quickly, and I think he's got a substantial story behind it, but he's set all the pieces in motion. Basically, Mooney has gone and tried to absorb most of the Avengers, the big hitters, or the Avengers that were tied to the Avengers 1 million BC. So you have the likes of Iron Fist, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, there's Starbrand, who else? There's Thor as well, and the Phoenix and Ghost Rider. So all of those magical figures, they've been around since apparently a million BC, but the descendants, or the people that have taken over the powers, like Danny Rand and Stephen Strange, are now those heroes. But anyway, Mooney's gone and he's battled them, most of them. Can't get T'Challa's, can't get the Phoenix's or Starbrand, still looking for it. But yeah, I thought it was really cool. It set things up quite nicely, and many set pieces can be boring. This was great because it was filled with stuff. So anyway, that's enough for my thoughts, because obviously there's going to be more to it when I read these out. So got a substantial amount of feedback from our spoiler thread in our Facebook group and our Facebook page. So if you're not a member, please think about joining. It's great. There's so many Loonies in there. Loonies being the Moon Knight fans. It's really fun to interact. So let's kick off. Victor, here's a great one to start with. Hope I don't butcher your name here, my good sir. Victor Lewandowski. He says, "See, Kates, that's how you do a Moon Knight and Mjolnir moment." So that was pretty cool. Alluding to the Damnation event, which had for me, a very piss-poor Moon Knight. Jason Aaron's done it now with Moon Knight, and this big thing, it's a big talking point. Mjolnir actually made out of an old moon, Moonrock. So Moon Knight is actually able to control it, and he uses it to dispose of Thor, along with a couple of hundred moons that he just collides into Thor. So very massive, colossal battle there. Moon Knight, the victor. But thank you, Victor. Yeah, it was... Victor. That was definitely a moment, and I very much preferred this over the Donny Cates. Billy Brooks says, "Did Aaron just retcon Uru?" And yeah, I believe he did. I haven't got my handbook or anything of Thor and the Uru hammer, Mjolnir. A dead star. I mean, that was what it was. How it's described in the MCU. I think it's pretty much about the same in comics, but I think Aaron's actually kind of twisted and manipulated it a bit to make it an old moon. So yeah, could well have. But thank you, Billy. Billy, a regular Loony contributor. It's great to hear from you. Now we have a big one here from Gabby. Gabby, hailing from the island of the friendliest people in the world, the Philippines. I love it. If you don't know, I have a Filipino background myself. Anyway, Gabby says, since this ended up super long, and I'm not sure what that is, Gabby, you'll have to let me know, TLDR is, I think this is your comments. I'm meh on Power Mystical Moon Knight, but I'm enjoying how serious he's being portrayed for once outside his solo. Let's hope the next one is good. I have to say that the first page kind of made me uneasy. Not of the comic proper, but the one with character introductions. I know that he's explicitly had powers in the past, including very recently post-Serpent War, which I think is what this is tied into. Him having a sliver of the moon or a sliver of Khonshu's power, but I personally prefer it when Moon Knight is just a dude. Similarly, I'm a big fan of the Khonshu questions and of the question of Khonshu's ambiguity. Think Menchron, leaning towards Khonshu probably not being an actual figure with godlike powers if the question even needs to be addressed. So Khonshu being the one to instill Mark with powers is not exactly my jam. I'm probably in the minority here though. And her next point, I am half discomforted and half intrigued by the fact that Moon Knight is explicitly praying to Khonshu. He's never done that before to the best of my knowledge, but who knows? Maybe whatever Khonshu said to Moon Knight to get him to go along with the plan was really that convincing. Gabby goes on to say, the line for the speed of the moon orbiting around me made me laugh. I wonder why. There, Gabby, please let me know. Reminded me of that one. Oh, here we go. Reminded me of that one West Coast Avengers issue. I also have a soft spot for laid-back rich dork Danny Rand. Me too. I like the Iron Fist. So I'm pretty super happy that his cameo in this book, that he has a cameo in this book, and the way he's written, what little there is. I was super apprehensive of how Mark would answer Danny's "I can help you mentally ill man" spiel, and I have to say I was shocked at first with how he responded. Upon a second reading, though, I think I like it. The glimpse of a serious, self-aware, self-assured Moon Knight that I think is a nice progression from, say, the Lemire run. And everyone in this group who knows me knows that I've been craving for that for a very, very long time, despite my apprehensions with the very idea of this event I put above. Yeah, I mean, Moon Knight is very much driven... you could almost say it's very similar to, he's got many identities. Mr. Knight in the Ellis run, very different way he behaves, very confident, very self-assured, very deadly. And this is, to me, it's very similar to that. Gabby has a few more points here. I never knew Doctor Strange was on first-name terms with Mark. I wonder when that was. Maybe, possibly, I'll have to check the Doug Mensch run with Doctor Strange, in the Moon Knight, series, Volume 1 with Doctor Strange. Maybe that has it. I laughed again with the smell of high-octane vengeance line. Delicious, delicious comic books. In all seriousness, though, Moon Knight cursing himself for how good it feels to hold such power, presumably, really makes me wonder how much he believes in his cause right now. Yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot of dialogue or monologue during the whole issue, and there certainly seems to be some conflict within. So whether that's just Aaron depicting Moon Knight's identities or there's something more, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Full disclosure, I'm not a big Thor fan in the slightest, so seeing him get beat up by the combined weight of like a million moons was rather enjoyable for me. Still, I am not the biggest advocate of Mjolnir being made of Moonrock. Was this ever foreshadowed? And the whole summoning moon thing once again brings me back to that one West Coast Avenger issue where Mooney draws on the power of the thousand moons that just happen to be in that particular dimension. So this is a big talking point. The Moonrock, I don't know, I guess we'll see. I kind of like it. I dig it. It certainly does make Mjolnir a lot more intimately connected to Moon Knight. Whether or not he continues to be able to do this, look, I reckon Moon Knight's going to be powered down after a while. He's kind of like a literal, like even a vessel to Khonshu, even more so than just being an avatar now. That's how I see it. But I think once he does this miraculous event to save the universe and humanity, he might be powered down a little. Anyway, the ending where Mark, Stephen and Jake all get narration time, though, I loved it. It also makes me wonder if the previous narration was Mark the whole time, or if they sneakily put in some Stephen Jake in there. And Khonshu looks cool too. That last page is a brilliant last page. I love it. Garon draws the hell out of Khonshu. I absolutely love it as well, Gabby. Thank you. And Gabby caps off it with, who is the devil? Now, I responded to Gabby. I said it was Mephisto or Mephistopheles. But I retract that statement. I reckon it's the worm. If you look at the Serpent War arc, and there's a serpent crown, and we all know that Set and Moon Knight and everyone, they were all actually fighting the worm. It's this kind of more evil entity that brings Set and Khonshu together. I reckon the big force that Khonshu wants to fight is the worm. It's out there somewhere. There's a worm crown as well. It might tie into that. Anyway, that's my take on it. Thank you so much there, Gabby. That was an amazing amount of feedback there. Next one from Jordan Hegarty, a fellow Patroni. Hey ho, Jordan. And Jordan just says he's going to pick it up this weekend, and he hopes. I can't believe we had to wait so long. Jordan, I hope you've read it by now. I hope you're listening. Hey ho to you. I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm trying to say word, but I'm not cool enough. I'm not American enough to do that. So hey, how you going? But yeah, nice. Hope you've read it now, Jordan. Stephen Siapno says it's interesting to see Moon Knight take down all the Avengers so easily. Like, how powerful is Khonshu anyway? I enjoy the direction that Moon Knight is going in for this story. A great way to formally get himself reintroduced into the Marvel Universe. Thank you, Stephen. Yeah, it is a question, isn't it? I mean, Khonshu seems quite powerful. I responded to you in this post, and I don't know, it's really weird. It depends on how they take Egyptian mythology. For all intents, it seems that the Greek and Norse mythology seem to be the top tier. Like, you got your Thor and your Hercules. But if Khonshu is as powerful as, say, Odin, then of course he can do the stuff. He can beat like Thor and the likes of the Avengers, or if he's Zeus. So, but the thing that kind of makes me wonder is that Khonshu isn't top tier Egyptian mythological god. It's Amun-Ra. Typically, or just Ra, which is like the huge god. Khonshu is just really a small bit deity. So I don't know if Khonshu is on par with Zeus and Odin. Who knows how powerful Amun-Ra or Ra is. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see. At the moment, Khonshu seems pretty bloody powerful, and it is a good way to get Mooney back into the universe, isn't it? Something different. I'm really loving it. So Brian Bazul just sent a gif with a whole crowd just waving up 10. So I think that sums up his views on the first issue, which similar to mine is very, very positive. Now I might then just jump. We've got some more feedback there, but I'm going to break it up a bit. Might put on our first bit of vocal feedback here, and this one comes from Derrick O'Neill, a good friend and one of the hosts and a producer of TV Podcast Industries. Love these guys over there. They do awesome work. They're currently doing a review on Penny Dreadful's City of Angels. Go check it out. Go check the show. The show is phenomenal. Anyway, here's what Derrick had to say.
Hi Ray, the High Priest of Khonshu, and all the Loony listeners. This is Derrick from TV Podcast Industries. Just finished reading Avengers 33 and wanted to send in my thoughts about the beginning of the Age of Khonshu. Really liked this issue. What a great choice of the first couple of characters to go down. Some of my favourites, with Iron Fist and Doctor Strange particularly getting their fight on with Khonshu, or with Mark Spector, or with Moon Knight. Very cool idea to take all of those things and all those elements of the Moon Knight character and kind of give them a little spin in this issue. Also love when Marvel does this, when they look back at something like Mjolnir and see change the original origin of it, or the origin that we've all known for many, many years, and give it a little spin to twist it into the idea of Moon Knight being able to control it. That was a cool little fight there with Thor. Lots of questions at the end of this issue, but that's the great way to set up, I suppose, a new arc, or a new storyline for Khonshu and for Moon Knight, which is cool. Yeah, really excited to see how this event plays out, and hopefully that means we're going to get a brand new Moon Knight book once this is all over. But yeah, ultra-powered Moon Knight is someone not to mess with. Very cool. Hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you, Derrick. That was awesome. Thanks for that bit of feedback. I had to kind of have a little chuckle here, Derrick, when you did mention it. It seemed like you're a glutton for punishment. The way that you just said, some of your favourite characters. I enjoyed seeing my favourite characters get beaten to a pulp. So, look, I certainly love the likes of Iron Fist and Doctor Strange as well. Black Panther, Thor, I really like. Anything with gods and mythology, I really do like. So yeah, but it's really cool to see Moon Knight play amongst them, because he's been depicted, and rightly so, as a street level for so long. That was his thing. Aaron's kind of turned it on its head, and he's now mixing it with the cosmic and the big hitters. So great stuff. Thank you so much, Derrick, for that. Well, let's get on to, might put on another one then. This next one is from one of the fellow ITK scribes. We are scribbling hard in the writing room. Russell Moran, or Russ. So Russ sends some feedback in. Russ is a fantastic writer. Go check it out, Painted Monks Library. It's where we're doing an association with, some of you may know. So we are hoping to write reviews for every single Moon Knight appearance in comics. So we've undertaken that task. It's probably going to take us a fair few years, but Russell is one of the writers, and is much appreciated. Anyway, take it away, Russell. What are your thoughts on Avengers 33?
Hey there, this is Russell. I'm currently one of the reviewers for Paint Monks Library doing the Moon Knight chronology, and just wanted to give my thoughts on Avengers number 33. First off, I haven't really read the Avengers run here by Jason Aaron since the beginning. I think I read the first 2 issues of his run. I liked it, I just didn't continue. Anyway, that's not important. No, I thought this was pretty good. I'm still a little anxious to see where it goes. It was phenomenal seeing our boy Moon Knight completely dominate Earth's mightiest heroes. The art was really good, and I don't know, pretty happy with how Moon Knight is being portrayed so far, but who knows where that could go. I want to say, of course, everything is not quite what it seems. We'll see where it goes. I'm very much looking forward to issue number 34. Thank you, and praise Khonshu.
Thank you so much, Russell. I love the sign off there. Sounds like we're starting a cult, or we're very much Egyptian god worshippers. But praise Khonshu, under Khonshu's eye. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed your comments as well. Who knows where it will go? We get a sense of it. I mean, I think, and we'll get to it later, because I did get some comments from Chad, the power of Chad. Look, I'm not going to put in some post-production and special effects. This is a short, sharp reaction episode, but Chad makes some mention of the storytelling. I'm just going to say now here as well, I think what has hurt the story is that so much of it was kind of divulged anyway in the lead up to this. So we know that Moon Knight's going to go up against the Avengers. We know that Khonshu wants to help out, and so I think we've kind of assumed that Moon Knight will become the savior. And so having that in mind, reading this, there's nothing new, because it does reveal it at the end. Khonshu, in that massive last page reveal, it reveals that, okay, we're going to combine all the powers of those guys, and you're going to be the ultimate savior for the universe. I don't know, for me, I kind of knew that was where it was going anyway, and so I'm glad that it's only one issue spent telling that. Yeah, I think all the previous promotional material it kind of loses its sheen, because you kind of when you read the story because you've kind of heard it already. All right, well, anyway, bouncing back to our Facebook group, we've got a fair few here. Brian Warshaw, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Again, not editing it. Brian says, and he actually was one of the first ones. He sent this before it was officially released. I don't know how you got it, Brian. He said, oh my people, I just read it and I loved it. Haven't been nuts about Aaron's Avengers, but I'm on board for this event now. Anxious to see what longer-term diehards think, but this is good in my book. Thank you, Brian. Kind of echoing Russ's comments there about Aaron's Avengers run. Look, I think I've read most of it. I kind of like it. It was really, for me, it was pretty flat at the beginning. I enjoyed the vampire component. Then I've kind of dropped out with the latter one, which is the cosmic, something to do with Captain Marvel, I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, thank you, Brian. It'd be interesting to know what long-time Avengers fans think of this. I'm assuming it might anger them. Just a short one here from Derrick again, from TV Podcast Industries. Thank you, Derrick. Just finished. That was a great start. Love this issue, and I'm excited for more. Absolutely. I think everyone's chomping to 30. Everyone's now, prepped and ready to go. We've got all the pieces in place. I think we really want to see where this story takes us. Gabby, again, drops in. I think this was one of her earlier comments. She said, going in, I was very cautiously optimistic. My immediate thoughts are that I didn't hate it. In fact, there are parts I really liked about Moon Knight's portrayal, and that I'm going to look forward to issue 34 with some interest. Yes, absolutely, Gabby. I am bursting to wait. Can't we have to wait another month? If they delay it again, faces will be torn off. That's a bit graphic. Anyway, I'm sure I've got the explicit content on this anyway. So, also, the Rick Ball special, he puts in 2 points. Number one, seeing our boy basically flex so hard on the Marvel Universe was great, especially crushing Thor with all those moons. And number two, Jason Aaron somehow put a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure reference in the fight between Moon Knight and Iron Fist, and it makes me love the run even more. Bring on issue 34. Thank you so much, Rick. Always has got time to drop in an anime reference. I'm assuming that's what it is. I think it's one of your favourites from memory, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, Rick. So, yeah, and he's got a nice little gif of the guy doing the 1,000 punches. So if you guys have read it, Moon Knight, in his encounter with Iron Fist, he pulls out the Fist of Khonshu multiple times to beat Danny Rand, and then to take his... it's kind of like the Xiao Lao flame, it seems, from Danny Rand, like the power. So, yeah, fantastic. Well, I might then just jump to another bit of voicemail, and then I think the only other... then I've got one from the Facebook page, which is The Power of Chad, and I have one from Twitter. But let's hear from Phil. You'll understand why, I'm going to call him Phil the Drop King Perich, or Drop King Phil, I think. And anyway, I loved hearing this. Thank you, Phil. Take it away with your thoughts.
Hey, fellow Loonies, it's me, Phil, from the Capes and Lunatics podcast and the Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks podcast. I just wanted to drop in my 2 cents on Avengers 33, The Age of Khonshu Part 1. I mean, first of all, hey, how great is it to have new comics again? They're back, little by little, but we're getting there. Anyway, this whole Age of Khonshu thing. I'm just going to go ahead and drop my thoughts right now. Is that all right, Ray?
Sounds like a plan, Jan.
Thank you, sir. And... so this thing opens up with, well, spoiler alert. I think the best part of this issue comes at the beginning, the fight between Moon Knight and Iron Fist. Sorry, Connor of Sons of the Dragon podcast. But I just love all these different fighting moves Iron Fist uses, and everything Moon Knight uses is either Fist of Khonshu or... what was the kick called? I think it was the Foot of the Sphinx. Yes, or a Fist of Khonshu. Because that's all Moon Knight needs, huh? all Moon Knight needs is 2 moves to take down any opponent, right, Ray?
Nailed it.
That's right. Get the whole Doctor Strange thing. Ghost Rider. Again, probably angering Brian over at the Ghost Rider podcast. Man, Moon Knight's just making things awkward for the whole collective, isn't he? Yeah, Black Panther thing. The Thor thing is pretty. I thought at first Moon Knight. I'm like, don't tell me Moon Knight's gonna lift the hammer, but I don't know. Doesn't it seem like these days, ever since Avengers Endgame, that everyone can either control or pick up Mjolnir? But still, I mean, pretty amusing. But my whole big thing is this. I mean, it seems like Khonshu is tasked Mark with this holy mission to, I guess, gain everyone's powers to take down a big threat, which he mentions a devil. I wonder, could it be Mephisto? Because we have seen Mephisto in this series. So there is Mephisto. Or it could be Kang, I guess, from after that whole thing with the Moon Knight annual. But yeah, like I said, Mephisto's been showing up in the Avengers books, so it could be the literal devil. I like this issue, but I'm just worried what this is going to do for Moon Knight's status quo. It's like, even if Moon Knight's being controlled or he's doing this for the best of intentions, are the Avengers, if not more of the Marvel Universe, going to see Moon Knight as like an enemy now, or even a villain? Because, I mean, who would undertake this stuff? Not even Ray's favorite character,
Batman,
would do something like this. So yeah, I'm just worried about how the Marvel Universe is going to see Moon Knight after this whole storyline. But hey, they can always clean it up in a new ongoing series. Come on, Marvel, get on the ball. Unless they're waiting for the, I mean, it's probably going to be a while for that Disney Plus series, so give us a Moon Knight book now. I'm sure everyone listening to this agrees with that. Like I said, good story. I think I'm going to give this one 4 out of 5 stolen powers. Again, I'm curious to see where this goes. Now it seems like Moon Knight is a heavy hitter in the Marvel Universe, a big weapon.
the big bazooka.
Ah, good. Yeah, I like that analogy, Ray. Thank you. So, yes, once again, 4 out of 5. Can't wait to hear what Ray and everyone else thinks about this issue. So, everyone, I would say, Khonshu watch over the denizens of the night, but the episode isn't over yet, so. Hey, keep it lunar. Catch ya.
Oh, Phil, oh, Phil, oh, Phil. What am I going to do with you? that was the Drop King, Phil. I feel violated using my voice like that. Thank you, Phil. Look, I'm not too worried about the status quo of where Moon Knight will head. I think things will simmer down. I think, as mentioned, this will just be for this run. I think everyone will get their powers back. Iron Fist, Doctor Strange, Thor and all that, they'll all be back to their norm. But yeah, it's going to be strange to get him back to street level. So he might end up with some sort of powers, not as powerful as he is shown in issue 33, but I think to some capacity. Thank you, Phil. And you got me to say that word. We're allowed the one reference still. You good old Woos Bane. Anyway, thank you for your thoughts, Phil. Always a pleasure to hear from you. And so we'll let's head to the Drop King. Let's head to Chad, the Power of Chad. This was on our Facebook page, and Chad had a little different spin on it. He goes, this was one of those hype issues. The content and visuals are here to astound and hook into a what happens next moment. It does that very well, but it doesn't exactly have much going on in explaining the scenario. I don't think it's fair to judge this issue by its lonesome, kind of like Serpent War segments, but if I had to, I'd probably give it a 5.5 out of 10. It was pretty, the events are fun, but it is just pretty fun filler until we get greater context. And Chad, yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from. We haven't really been given much. It is very much a setup piece. But for me, it was a very fun setup piece, as you say. A lot of actions, a lot of punchy, kicky. But we don't know what we don't know what this great threat is. As I mentioned, I reckon it's a worm. I reckon the worm is the devil. But we'll see. But no, thank you, Chad, for that as well. And like I said before, I think it's because we've kind of been fed this information about this first issue so much, that's how I take it, that it didn't seem as impactful as when I first read it. Although it was still, the art was brilliant, the action scenes were fun, I kind of knew what was going to happen. And as I said, I'm glad that it was just the one issue to set things up. Right, and then I'm just going to jump, I'm doing this all on my phone, I'm going to jump to Twitter. Is that Twitter? Yeah, Twitter, it's called Twitter, and it's called Tweets, that's it. Yeah, that's how old I am. Anyway, this is from Just Zilla at Sean Sad Rye 2000, and he says Avengers 33 is great action-packed issue with Moon Knight being both the protagonist and an antagonist of the issue, with lots of cameos from different Marvel characters and places. Plus, Javier Garron's amazing art joining the team complements Jason Aaron's writing. Thank you so much, Justilla, and a big shout out to Justilla. He is one of my leads whenever it comes to news and stuff. So a big thank you, Sean. Yeah, that's great. Absolutely, Javier Garron's art is beautiful. I had to tweet that to him, and also to let Jason Aaron know it was a great issue. I might when I release this episode, I might tweet them directly to this. Hopefully, Jason and Javier, you can have a listen and hear the massive, really positive feedback so far for the Age of Khonshu. Plenty of things to come. Okay, one final bit of feedback I'm going to throw to another audio voicemail, and this one comes from Scott Weatherly from 20th Century Geeks. He was on the show not long ago, Scott, so a good friend of the show. Anyway, I know he's a big Moon Knight fan. Let's hear what Scott has to say.
Hi, this is Scott from 20th Century Geek and Stories in Out of Time and Space. My initial thoughts on Avengers 33 with Moon Knight. Yeah, I'm in for this. I think the fact that they've made Moon Knight a proper badass, taking on Danny Rand, the Iron Fist, and taking out Thor. I'm not going to do too much spoilers, but I was really impressed with this. I think the art's on point. I think the balance of humour and action is pretty solid. And then the reveal at the end that Moon Knight's there to save the world was excellent. I'm really looking forward to this, how it's going to pan out and what this arc's going to be about. Quick prediction, maybe it could be that Ra is going to come back in some way, keeping up with the Egyptian theme. I don't know. But first issue in, I'm going to be all over this. Really enjoying it so far. Excellent issue.
Yes, thank you, Scott, for those comments. Pretty much echoed a lot of Loony sentiments as well. Interesting take there on Ra. You never know, far out. Could well be part of it. My money is going to be banking on the Worm. It's just a little bit out there. I reckon the Worm over Mephisto, and the Worm causing the chaos. Hopefully as a follow up to Serpent War. But it's very interesting to say, all on board. Can't really fault this issue for kind of getting people wondering and excited. The Thor fight was amazing as well. But no, cheers, Scott. Awesome stuff. Loonies as well, Scott, as you mentioned, not only 20th Century Geek, but stories out of time and space as well. Definitely worth checking out. Okay, Loonies, well, that's about it. Thank you so much for your feedback. As mentioned before, If there's any other feedback, we will capture it and talk about it in our official review, which we'll record this Saturday. So that will be released again in about a week's time from now. So will be released next Thursday, Wednesday for Patronies. So please get your feedback in. Keep on discussing it. We love to hear more about this event and to talk about it. And also as well, don't forget about episode 148, which just released as well, which released just a few hours before this one was released. It features Moonmin, awesome David Watkins from the Moon Knight Core Facebook page, and we have a jolly old time talking about Bendis's issue 7. It's well worth a listen. I guarantee you'll enjoy it, so please give that a go as well. I guess I will catch you in our next episode. I'll have a swag of co-hosts. I'll have Tommy, the man on the streets. That's a saxophone for him. Joey, Mega Man, Ugliata, bloop, 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 bloop. And fingers crossed, we'll also have the Drop King, Phil in Perich. That'd be good. He can answer himself. He can answer for, his cheeky. He's a cheeky bugger. So anyway, hopefully we'll have Phil. So hopefully it'll be 4 of us. We will be reviewing the hell out of Avengers 33. It should be fun. And also, we're going to drop next week the next installment of The Hunt for Khonshu's Golden Scepter. It has already been released for Patronies, so I got it in time in May. It's just going to miss out the May deadline for the official release, just had to take my time with some of the editing. It's a lot of fun. We'll drop that in our next show as well. Anyway, Loonies, this has been short and sharp. I have loved it. I hope you have loved Avengers 33, and as always, may Khonshu watch over the denizens of the night. Catch ya!
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.